Welcome to the CEO Crowd. I'm your host and coach, Rebecca Nesbitt, and today we're spilling the tea on why your offers that aren't converting. Part two. If you're asking yourself why your offers aren't selling, this is going to solve all of your problems, this mini series. And without further fluff, let's dive into it and figure out and really understand what's going wrong so that you can fix it. Last week, we did a real deep dive into value ladders and how they're super useful as a concept. However, what they do to you as an entrepreneur makes you ignore the emotional needs of your customers. You're essentially creating from what you think would be the right next step, which really leads us really well into today, which is another reason why your offers maybe aren't selling is because you've created what people need, but not what they actually want. Now, I say this as an entrepreneur who's very aware that I have an ego and that most entrepreneurs do. I don't think that it is in any way, shape, or form rude to say that. I think that it is completely fair. I think that all my ideas are great, obviously, because they're my ideas and I'm incredibly biased toward myself. So, obviously, they are not all great, right? And it's so important for you to understand this concept of not all of your ideas are completely wonderful and are going to sell, because the very honest missing component is that you're not your client. Maybe you once were, and now you've come through something, and this is for the coaches in the room, holla. Maybe you've gone through something, you're like, I don't want someone else to go through that again. I'll create what they need. But you're not framing it in the way that they actually want it. Or you're saying this is what you need to do and you're telling people what to do. And people don't actually like being told what to do. So it's really important for you to not create on a whim, because what that will do for you is it will expend all of your creative energy and it will go nowhere. And then you'll be stuck asking, why are my offers not selling? So if you're in that boat, then let's spend that creative energy working on something that will convert. Market research is so underrated, and I'm going to go into really easy ways that you can do it. But before we get into it, I think that I have a coach that does this, that preaches market research a lot and finds that there's a lot of pushback when it comes to market research because people don't want to do it. And I think that, quite frankly, that is the opposite also of what most people say that they want to do as an entrepreneur. Because if you want to help people, you don't know how to do that unless you actually ask them. So I think that for the people in the room that don't think market research is important, please listen on the behalf of your clients to this, because this is why your offers aren't selling. If you're here because your offers aren't selling, this is definitely something to really lean into and think, okay, I maybe need to think about this concept of market research. And it doesn't have to be this overly challenging, get a million people on a call kind of thing. It totally can be. Are you going to get more qualitative research that way? Absolutely. There are two forms of research: qualitative, which is the quality of the research, the depth, asking 5 whys deep. You're going to get that. But also, if you're looking at this other form that I'm talking about, you're going to get a lot of quantitative research. So, quantitative is the quantity of people that are saying the same thing, essentially. So, if we make it really, really simple and take it to bare bones, those are the two types of research that you can get through market research. And let's talk about some easy ways to do it, because instead of it having to be this huge, elaborate, dramatic, I don't know what questions to ask, and how am I meant to know, and I don't understand, and I've never done this before, and I would rather just create. Totally, you can do that, but you'll waste all of your energy and you won't make as much money as you could. So if you want to do that, my friend, be my guest. And if you don't want to do that and you want to try something a little bit different, cool, this is for you. Because it's so easy when you know what you're looking for. So I think that the first point of market research is you have to know what it is that you want to know. We recently did some market research for our in-person events, and I had to think, well, what do I want to know? I wanted to know if people wanted multiple speakers, if it was important for me to provide food for them, or if they wanted more time together, or is the location really that important? And interestingly, many things came up that I didn't think would come up. And one of which being, we have our first event is going to be in Houston, Texas. And I'm very excited about it. It's not where my market wants to be. I decided I was going to do this creating out of what I wanted. So I still fall down to this one. Created something I wanted because it was near me. It was somewhere that I felt comfortable. It was a cool space. I know people in the area. I was like, I'm just going to do like a launch of this like in-person event. It's going to be fun. It's not going to be a lot of drama. It's just going to be something like very small scale. And then we looked at our market research. Our second event is to be in June and it'll be in the UK. And interestingly, double the amount of people want to go to the UK or are willing to travel to the UK than are willing to travel to the south of North America, aka Texas. So I find it really interesting that a lot of the time, even I, like, we don't think about what the market wants. We're like, this is a good idea. And we create it. And then I think that market research can then start to really inform you going forward. So our first event is very small scale and it's going to be testing out a few of the concepts I think could be really great to do in a group, but I would really like to test that out and also provide a lot of value in an in-person space as opposed to an online space, which I'm used to. So, or I'm more used to since obviously the pandemic. My job before that was doing a lot of group work. So I have an idea that these things will work well. I just want to test it out. That's what the first event is for. But the first event is nothing in comparison to the second event. The first event is like a part of a day in Houston, Texas, with like a very small amount of people. The second event, this June event, is going to be 2 days. It's going to be in the UK. We have to really consider how many people we're going to get in the room. There's so much more in the event that people have actually asked for than the event that we're putting on. And that's a good thing. Our market research is working. It's telling us exactly what we need to know and what we need to create, aka more spaces for people to connect instead of a million speakers on stage, coaching in what may be their zone of genius, but giving you like 2 golden nuggets to take away. And then you go away and you're kind of hyped because you've seen all these speakers and they've talked about you like you can absolutely do it, which you absolutely can, but you've not actually done anything. So we know what's missing from events. Great. We're going to provide something that's not in the market right now. And we're going to test it and it will work because we've got the market research to back it up, not because I think it's going to work. I mean, it obviously do, but I would have done it so differently had I not looked at the market research. So this all started as an Instagram story. Would you be interested in attending an in-person event or an online event? That was the original question. That was the intention. I wanted to know if it was going to work, if people were actually interested in person, or if that was just something I was thinking and I was assuming. And then we had 67% of people respond to that particular Instagram story, which is not huge in terms of numbers. Like, it's clear that there's still a huge market for the online space. But then when I actually looked into the data of who had responded, I was like, okay, well, the 37% of people that were like online only, none of them are in my niche. None of them. They're dudes or friends or family that would not come to my events. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that makes sense. Actually, it's a lot higher than 67%. So you can get really into data, but the question has to be like, what do you want to find out? If you want to find out if people actually want the course that you're running, maybe it's like, do you want a 6-week course or a 12-week course? And you can't decide. And you're like, I could do so much more with 12 weeks, but maybe people want 6 weeks. Then ask the people. You can do that Instagram stories. If you have a big enough audience, you feel you can do that in Facebook groups. So maybe you don't have 800,000 million gazillion bajillion followers. Completely understand, neither do I. So maybe you don't have all the followers that you want, but you know the group of people that you want to serve. So example, we serve online entrepreneurs, online female entrepreneurs, let's be specific. And that's the groups that we engage in, are groups with online female entrepreneurs, so that we can get good data from those groups. And we go in and we ask questions, we do polls, and it's all to fuel, first of all, people coming into our network, because even if you're posting in other Facebook groups, people see you, people add you as a friend, people want to connect with you if you're posting value or if you're posting something that's interesting to them. So even if it's like a you can't promo group, even asking questions, huge win for you if it's around your product, because You're just collecting data. You're not saying, I have this offer. What do you think? You're saying, hey, I would love to know what you would prefer to do, 6-week course, 12-week course, whatever it is, in-person event, online event. Poll people's audiences. And then also start to, this is like on the back end, but think, is this really my audience? Because there are some groups of female entrepreneurs that are our audience, and there are some that are just absolutely not. No one's bad or wrong. Just place yourself in the right places to ask these questions and then create from there. So that's a really simple way to do some like quick, sharp market research on concepts you want to test. Another good thing you can do this for is names. Oh my gosh, I do this for names all the time. I'm like not the perfect person to name a program or a course or a group. And I'll go into groups and I'll be like, what do you think of this name? It's so simple, and most people wouldn't think to do it. But the more that you're in groups, the more you engage, the more people are interested. The more engagement people have when they're scrolling through your stories, the more interested they become in your life because they're actively choosing things. And then they'll see everyone that said in-person events will now see us run in-person events and be like, oh, like I voted on that. And they feel like they're a part of the journey. And interestingly, that's what community is all about. So that's clearly why I stand for this. So like heroically, I'm like, this is a great idea. It fosters community. But you genuinely want people to feel like they're part of your journey because then they'll buy from you. And if your problem is your offers aren't selling, this is gold. The next thing that you can do is you can send a form to your email list. It's so simple. Google Forms are totally free. And you can go on, you can create a form. I would say do a lot of checkbox work and not things that don't matter. Make them questions that genuinely matter, data that you really want to get. So if someone's looking to invest in a course, do they want a 6-week live course, or would they like a DIY at your own pace course? Or would they like a 12-week hybrid course of one-to-one and group? Whatever ideas you've got, and ask people, and always give them an out, like none of this is applicable, because sometimes it won't be, and actually then you'll get really good answers because you'll be like, none of the things that I'm aiming for will work. Brilliant. You want that. You actually want to be told no sometimes. Like you want people to say this is a bad idea, because then you won't waste your time in creating it and then putting it out there and then feeling like you're not a good entrepreneur because no one's bought it. You're saving yourself time, energy, and drama in the future if you just ask the questions now. And that's something you can very easily do, like I was saying, in a form. So a lot of checkbox, and then maybe like 1 to 2 more in-depth, kind of more of your qualitative data. Like I want the story, and really focus on the story, because something that I've been learning recently, I've been learning a lot about market research recently. So like huge shout out, Build with Becky, Build W Becky on Instagram. One of my coaches, I think that a lot of the time you listen to these podcasts or shows or YouTube videos and you're like, they're saying they're coach, but like, who is it? Genuinely, like someone I will follow anything that she does. I think she's wonderful and has such depth of knowledge around market research. Like, I cannot even, like, she's such a gift. And she always speaks about how humans are inherently aspirational. So if you were to say, how many times do you go to the gym a week? Then people are going to say, oh, well, I go like 4 times or 5 times. Maybe I go to CrossFit, or they'll tell you what they do. But if you actually ask, well, how many times did you go to the gym last week? This is so ironic because I work out, 4 times a week right now is my schedule. I do a kind of 2 days on, 2 days off situation. So sometimes it's slightly more than 4 in a week, just depends how the days fall. And if you ask me that, then last week I only worked out 3 times. But if you said how many times you work out in a week, I would say, oh, like 4 or 5 times. See how you're actually getting the story? So ask for the story instead of what's aspirational for people, because they'll always big up their own numbers. Like, especially us entrepreneurs. I'm just saying. So that's another way to get short, sharp market research, is if you have an email list, is to ask them. And another way to get research, so this will feel more dramatic and always feels harder for people when I say to them, and I've had many clients that I have taken through market research in the past, and I'm like, you need to do market research. You need to ask what people actually want from your business, because if you're also slightly unclear, it can really inform the direction that you take. So a lot of people that are confused about their niche, is actually really helpful because other people in the market, essentially the market, will streamline you into something that may genuinely be the right product. So for those people, then I've always said, spend some time with your current clients, potential clients, past clients, and ask them questions. Check in with them, ask them what they actually need right now. And if there is a space for what you're looking to create in their life, or maybe they don't need that, maybe they need something completely different. Maybe you're the right coach or service for them, maybe you're not. And it's understanding who you're currently targeting. If you're already selling offers, who have you attracted already? And also, this is a side note, always take the advice of the people that you would much prefer to be surrounded by. So, example, a lot of market research, a lot of the time when you first start out, you're kind of like, I'll do market research with anybody, and you'll try and get some kind of data. And then after that, it's really a case of looking at, but who said that? Because you're going to have to work with them. And this is a part of entrepreneurship we don't speak about enough, is that when you're an entrepreneur, you get to choose. So if you get to choose, then start to align your business, your company, your vision, what you're doing with the people that you actually want to stay in your communities or stay in your coaching. Because if you are, for example, not working with that particular group of people, then the way to change that is market research. Is start speaking to people that you do actually want to serve. Quite often this comes about when people have, when they've gone through this value ladder and they're like, my low ticket offer always sells, but my high ticket offer never sells. Why is that? And it's usually because you're attracting people at a low ticket offer level and you're not attracting people at a high ticket offer level because they are looking at your low ticket offer and saying, I don't want to like do it myself, course. I want you to do it for me. So you're attracting essentially the wrong person. And yes, you can lead people on a journey in terms of your value ladder, but that's always going to take more time than someone that's ready and wants your offer right now. So this is the ways that you can essentially use your market research to fuel what you actually want to create. So if you were here for our last part of the series where we spoke about value ladder and we were talking all about going all in on one thing and how it took me years, let me say again, years, for the people in the back, years to decide to focus on one thing. But when I did that, I was able to create more recurring revenue for my business, and my business is the most stable place it's ever been. And that is because I chose to focus in on one thing. If you're choosing to focus in on one thing and you're marketing specifically to that, it will grow. And if that thing is in a different market from what you've already been marketing for, of course, it's going to take longer because you have to change the marketing because of what the market is saying. So people that are looking for done, like do it yourself, like DIY, versus done with you versus done for you are three very different styles to take, and a lot of services kind of follow that, but also coaching follows that very similarly too. So if it's do it yourself, it's a very different person. It's usually someone who claims they don't have the time, but they definitely have more time than they do money. So they're probably going to do it themselves, or they have a vested interest and they're very interested. Done with you is someone who probably is like average stages of both time and money, cannot probably afford the done for you, and also is maybe a little bit put off by done for you because they want more connection to their business or service or what they're doing. Or maybe it's something that genuinely someone can't do for you. So done with you works there. And then you've got done for you, which is typically people that they absolutely have more money than they do time. So they need someone else to take that on because they know that their time is better used elsewhere. Doesn't mean their time is more valuable. It means that we just have different priorities at each stage. So if you have different priorities at each stage and you're marketing to one of the stages, so example, you're marketing to someone that has absolutely no money, and then you're like, here's my done for you package, not useful. But if you were marketing to someone that had no time and you see, here's this done for you package, that makes complete sense. This is why you have to ask your market and then align your main part of your business with that. So whether that is the beginning stages, that's totally cool. Just know that you won't have as many convert up because you're working with sales statistics all the way down this funnel, like all the way down this ladder. You're still working with sales statistics. So you can try and get as many people in. And then you have to consider, okay, well, why are they not converting? You need market research if you don't know what the emotions of those people are. So that's how the two first parts of the series really mesh together. I hope that makes complete sense. It does in my brain, but if you have any questions, DM me at the CEO Crowd. I'll be there. And that is essentially, I mean, it's just ask. The market has the answers, and if something isn't converting, you need to listen to them because they know. They're the ones with the purchasing power. They know what they want. You just need to serve it to them and solve their problems for them or with them. That's it. So, this particular series has come about out of multiple onboarding calls in the last few weeks with female entrepreneurs. And it's really touching on a lot of the concepts that we're discussing in the CEO Crowd all the time. And if you want to experience the crowd for yourself, if this is a space that you think, do you know what, I kind of like these like short, sharp pieces of training that are very implementable, that I can recreate and that I can get support with whenever I need it. I maybe need a place to ask my market research to a room of female entrepreneurs. Well, the CEO Crowd could be the place to do that. So I would invite you to come along and join our community for the day. Come to one of our networking events. Don't invest in anything. Come to one of our networking events. See if it's the right vibe for you. If it is, we'd love to obviously see you in our membership. But before you get to there, experience the community and see if it's right for you. Get an opportunity to promote your business to 250 female entrepreneurs. I'm not joking. And this is not a comment what you do in the chat situation. This is a live, we want to hear about your business from you. We want to hear what you're working on. And we also want to hear what you need support with. Maybe you want more speaking opportunities. You're looking for referrals. You want people to speak in your membership. You want to speak in other people's memberships. You want to bulk up your email list. You want to get more followers. You want more support online. You want a business bestie. You want accountability. Whatever you need, we are here to support you and have provided all of those things and more to more female entrepreneurs that I can completely fathom at this point. It's wild. So if you'd like to come to our event, then please jump into the description. All the information is there. You're literally clicking a button, clicking to see the schedule, picking a date that works for you, and coming along. We'd love to see you. And until next week, where we will be concluding our series of why people are potentially not buying from you and how you can help them to buy from you because your product is clearly great. If you stayed till the end, I feel like you're on that vibe. Then until next week, we will be over here at the CEO Crowd, believing in you.